Is Toy Story 2 merely a sequel, or is it an emotional roller coaster that redefines animation and film as a whole? Stick around as we dive into the cinematic gem to uncover why it's so much more than child's play. Welcome everyone to this comprehensive review and analysis of Toy Story 2, a film that not only lived up to its predecessor but also became a classic in its own right. The Toy Story franchise, brought to life by Pixar and distributed by Disney, kicked off in 1995 with the original Toy Story. It was groundbreaking in many ways, not least of which was its status as the first feature-length film made entirely with computer-generated imagery. This franchise has become a cornerstone of modern animation and storytelling for children and adults alike. Toy Story 2 was released in 1999, directed by John Lasseter and co-directed by Ash Brannon and Lee Unkrich. It was not just a commercial success, breaking in over $490 million at the global box office, but also a critical darling, boasting a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. In this review, we'll dive deep into the story, characters, and themes of Toy Story 2. We'll analyze its cinematic techniques, emotional impact, cultural significance, and how it stands in comparison to other films in the franchise and the animation genre as a whole. So sit tight as we venture into the fantastic world of Woody, Buzz, and the gang. The plot and themes of Toy Story 2 are where this movie shines as a sequel, taking risks and delivering messages that resonate with audiences of all ages. In Toy Story 2, Woody is stolen by a toy collector named Al, who plans to sell him along with a set of collectible toys to a museum in Japan. Woody discovers his origin as a TV show star from the 1950s and meets other toys from the show: Jessie the yodeling cowgirl, Bullseye the horse, and Stinky Pete the prospector. Meanwhile, Buzz Lightyear and the rest of Andy's toys embark on a daring mission to rescue Woody. The camaraderie between Woody and Buzz is further strengthened in this sequel. New friendships are formed, and the importance of being there for each other in times of need is highlighted. Woody's journey in this film centers on his identity crisis. Is he a collector's item meant to be admired from a distance, or a toy meant to be loved by a child? This theme is beautifully explored through Woody's interactions with his new acquaintances. The film doesn't shy away from tackling the commercial aspects of toy culture, whether it's the collectibles market or the way toys are discarded for newer models. It serves as a commentary on consumer society while emphasizing the value of individual worth. What's fascinating about Toy Story 2 is how it takes the foundational elements of the first movie and expands upon them. The characters are more nuanced, the story is richer, and the themes are more layered. It builds upon the "toys have feelings too" concept and explores what it means to be valuable or worthless in a world driven by consumerism and emotional connections. So that concludes our exploration of the story and its themes. Stay tuned as we delve into the characters and their development in this emotionally charged yet joyous adventure. In any story, characters are the backbone, the beating heart that pumps life into the narrative. Toy Story 2 is no different. It takes its characters seriously, which is a feat for an animated movie about toys. Let's delve deeper into this ensemble cast. Woody, the beloved cowboy doll, undergoes a fascinating arc in this film. From the leader of Andy's toys, he turns into an existential thinker, pondering his purpose and worth. Should he preserve himself as a mint-conditioned collectible for a museum, or continue to be the worn-out but loved toy of a growing boy? His journey towards making this decision adds an emotional depth to his character and provides the film with its core conflict. Buzz Lightyear, our space ranger, has evolved beyond the comic relief character we met in the first film. In Toy Story 2, he takes on the mantle of the leader during Woody's absence and is driven by loyalty and friendship. He even confronts an alternate, delusional version of himself, offering us a throwback to his own character journey in the original film. Jessie. Jessie is a bundle of energy, but also brings a sense of melancholy with her backstory. Her addition to the narrative serves as a foil to Woody, presenting an alternative perspective on being a toy without an owner. Bullseye. Bullseye doesn't speak, but he doesn't need to. His expressive eyes and body language add a sense of earnestness and innocence to the ensemble. Stinky Pete. Stinky Pete, the prospector, adds complexity to the story as a villain with understandable motivations. He's tired of being overlooked and sees the museum as a chance for eternal admiration. Each of these characters, old and new, enriches the plot by presenting different angles of the same central question. What does it mean to be a toy? Their individual stories and interactions create a multifaceted narrative that is both entertaining and enlightening. Animation isn't just for kids, and Toy Story 2 makes that abundantly clear through its impeccable cinematic techniques. The animation in Toy Story 2 was revolutionary for its time, and it holds up remarkably well today. The textures, the movements, and the attention to detail, like the wear and tear on Woody, add a layer of realism to this animated world. The film's soundtrack, composed by Randy Newman, complements its emotional beats perfectly. Who could forget the heartfelt melody of When She Loved Me, performed by Sarah McLachlan? The sound effects are also meticulously designed, creating an immersive experience. The movie skillfully balances action, humor, and emotion, ensuring that the audience never loses interest. Whether it's the tense scenes of Woody's kidnapping or the emotional flashbacks of Jesse's past, the pacing is near perfect. Toy Story 2 uses visual elements to amplify its themes. For instance, the contrast between the bright, chaotic world of Al's toy barn and the sterile, quiet environment of the museum highlights the dilemma facing Woody and his friends. A life of excitement and unpredictability versus one of eternal but monotonous admiration. And that wraps up our discussion on characters and cinematic techniques. Stick around as we dig deeper into the emotional impact and cultural significance of this fantastic sequel. Animation has the power to evoke strong emotions, and Toy Story 2 is a masterclass in this aspect. Let's talk about how this film tugs at our heartstrings, makes us laugh, and takes us on an emotional roller coaster. The scene that perhaps most defines the emotional power of Toy Story 2 is Jesse's flashback set to Sarah McLachlan's song, When She Loved Me. It's a sequence that speaks to abandonment, nostalgia, and the transience of love, framed in such a poignant way that many adults find themselves misty-eyed. Humor in Toy Story 2 is not just relegated to one-liners or slapstick moments. It's often situational and built into the characters themselves, like the ridiculousness of a toy collector being a main villain, or Buzz Lightyear confronting a delusional version of himself. This not only adds comic relief, but also enriches the storytelling by making the characters more endearing. The film does a remarkable job of balancing emotional depth with lighthearted fun. It explores themes of abandonment, identity, and friendship while also keeping the tone breezy enough for younger audiences. This wide emotional range is what makes Toy Story 2 appealing to both children and adults. While primarily a children's film, Toy Story 2 subtly tackles a range of societal issues. The theme of obsolescence speaks to our throwaway culture, and Woody's moral dilemma touches on deeper themes of identity and purpose. Even Stinky Pete's resentment can be seen as a commentary on social neglect of what's considered old or outdated. Toy Story 2 doesn't just bank on nostalgia, it actively explores it as a theme, especially through its new characters like Jessie and Bullseye, who are from a 1950s fictional TV show. This resonates with adults who themselves are dealing with a world that is changing rapidly, often leaving behind the things they once held dear. Commercially, Toy Story 2 has been a massive success. Beyond its box office numbers, it spurred a range of merchandise that continues to be popular even years after the film's release. From action figures to video games, the film's characters have found a permanent place in popular culture, demonstrating its commercial reach and longevity. So that concludes our look at the emotional and cultural facets of Toy Story 2. Whether you're watching it for the first time or revisiting it for the nth time, it's a film that continues to impress with its depth, humor, and relevance. Toy Story 2 doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's part of a larger saga and a genre with numerous entries. How does it stand up? Let's take a look. The original Toy Story was a groundbreaking film that introduced us to a delightful ensemble of toy characters and a compelling story. While Toy Story 2 doesn't reinvent the wheel, it takes the themes and characters from the original and amplifies them, offering more depth and broader emotional beats. It's one of those rare sequels that many argue surpasses its predecessor. The franchise didn't stop with Toy Story 2, and each subsequent film builds upon the foundations laid here. This film serves as a pivotal point in the characters' emotional arcs, notably Woody's, setting the stage for the decisions they make in Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. When it comes to animated family films, Toy Story 2 is often cited as one of the best. Unlike some other sequels in the genre, it avoids the pitfalls of more of the same or style over substance, offering a meaningful story that enhances the franchise and stands as a strong film on its own. No film is perfect, and while Toy Story 2 excels in many areas, it's worth noting where it might have fallen short. Some critics and audiences have pointed out that while the film explores themes of obsolescence and consumerism, it doesn't fully critique the corporate mechanisms behind them, possibly owing to its own commercial aims as a Disney Pixar product. Overall, the film has been exceptionally well received, holding a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. However, some critics have pointed out that the film's emotional weight might be too heavy for younger audiences, especially during scenes like Jesse's heart-wrenching flashback. While the animation was revolutionary for its time, advancements in technology have made it look somewhat dated compared to more recent entries in the franchise or other modern animated films. However, its story and themes remain timeless, helping it to withstand the test of time. And there we have it, our comprehensive review and analysis of Toy Story 2. This film is a marvel in storytelling, character development, and emotional depth, standing not just as a great animated film, but as a great film, period. Thank you for joining us on this cinematic journey. As we come to the end of our in-depth exploration of Toy Story 2, let's take a moment to summarize what makes this film an enduring classic. The film excels in storytelling, character development, and cinematic techniques. It tackles significant themes such as friendship, identity, and the idea of obsolescence, all while maintaining a balance between humor and emotional depth. Over 2 decades after its release, Toy Story 2 continues to capture the hearts of both young audiences and adults. Its impact is not just in the realm of animation, but also in the broader scope of filmmaking. The issues it raises and the questions it poses are timeless, granting it an enduring relevance. Toy Story 2 is more than just a sequel. It's a film that expands upon its predecessor in every conceivable way. If you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out on a piece of cinematic history. And if you have, it's always worth revisiting. That brings us to the end of a review and analysis of Toy Story 2. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer to this classic, we hope this deep dive has offered you a fresh perspective. But hey, that's just my take. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree that Toy Story 2 is the perfect sequel? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in more videos dissecting the elements of great storytelling in film, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon. Also, if you want to dive deeper into animated classics, check out my upcoming video on The Genius of Spirited Away. I think you'll find it equally enlightening. Thanks for watching. Until next time.